My grandpa had a speech impairment when he was growing up. He couldn't speak clearly and always talked so no one could understand him. For example, he would talk in third person and it would be really difficult to understand him. I don't know how far away his birthday was from the due date. I just know he had a speech impairment. Studies have shown that if a baby was born prematurely, they have a risk of having a speech impairment. According to UK Healthcare from 2023, it's all babies that were born prematurely 4 to 6 weeks early are at risk of having serious health problems. Some have breathing problems, feeding problems, and effects on brain functions. Others can be born with speech impairments. I was born 4 weeks and 6 days, and I weighed for my due date, and I weighed 6 pounds and 2 ounces. Since I was born that early for my due date, I could have been born with a speech impairment, which I was, and I still have today. Speech impairments also run through the family, but they also affect how people say different sounds. Like some people can't say the L sound or the R sound. I started with not being able to say the L, TH, SH, CH, and R sounds. Now the only sound I'm still working on is the R sound. We usually overlook what people with speech impairments have to go through, which we shouldn't because people with speech impairments are as much as poignant as we are. Today we're going to look at some of the problems that people with speech impairments have. Secondly, we'll talk about how a kid gets a speech impairment, and lastly, we'll come up with a solution to help people out with their speech impairments. Before we even start talking about the problems with speech impairments, we need to ask what they are. Speech impairments are when a child can't speak clearly or can't speak so people understand what they're saying. According to Cleveland Clinic from 2023, it says, speech impairment or speech disorder happens when a child can't speak or can't speak so people understand what they're saying. Since kids with speech impairments can't speak so people understand what they're saying, there are some problems with that. In 2022, roughly about 1.2 million children had a speech disorder. The first problem with kids with speech impairments is that they get bullied. In the February 2023 issue of The Mighty, it says that students with speech disorder are more likely to get bullied because they are harder to understand. This proves that kids with speech disorders are more likely to get bullied because they are harder to understand with kids than without a speech disorder. And that they are easier to target than other kids. Giving class presentations also give kids with speech disorders a target on their back, because speaking in front of class or audience gives people a better chance at laughing at them for words that they can't say. Another problem with kids with speech impairments is that they learn differently than other kids. They can have trouble with reading and spelling. In the article Children with Accessory and Reading, Writing, and Spelling Difficulties by Joyce Stackhouse, PhD, from 2022, it states, school-age students whose speech difficulties persist beyond 5 years of age are at the most risk for associated difficulties in reading, spelling, and sometimes math. Some kids with speech impairments don't always have trouble with other subjects, but sometimes they do. The main subjects they usually struggle in are reading and spelling because of the speech disorder, they will be used to words sounding differently than how they usually sound. The last problem is that kids with speech impairments have trouble socializing. When they talk and people don't understand what they're saying, they can get easily mad over it. Kids will also have a lack of confidence while speaking. When they speak, others often look down on them because they can't pronounce certain words and they don't want people to judge them for that. Lena Sored's article, How Communication Issues Can Impact a Child's Social and Emotional Well-Being from 2020, it states, for young children, the inability to make themselves understood or process their emotion may lead to self-isolation, attention challenges, or other behavioral issues. This explains that kids that can be understood with what they're trying to say, they can easily get mad over it, and people also think that they're dumb because they can't say certain things. One cause of a speech impairment is a baby having a low weight when they are born. The maximum weight that a child can have that causes them for sure to have a speech impairment is 5 pounds and 8 ounces. Now, this isn't true for all babies, for most of them it is. In the article, Low Birth Rates Linked to Communication Problems in Children from September 19, it states, the researchers found that by age 10, children in all these certain categories of low birth rate were more likely to be diagnosed with a speech-language disorder and to have received speech-language services than children who have been born at a normal rate. This shows that having a low birth rate can cause you to have a speech disorder more than if you were born at a normal rate. Another cause of speech impairment is being born prematurely. If a baby was born prematurely, they have a slower understand things than babies who were born in full term. Premature babies have a delay in motor skills. According to Raising Children Network from 2023, it says, most premature babies develop language in the same way as term babies, but their language development might be delayed. They might have more trouble speaking and understanding what said to them compared to with children who were born at term. Based on that, we can tell that premature babies are more delayed in speech language development than babies that were born at full term. The last cause of speech impairment is that it runs through the family. My grandpa had a speech impairment and I haven't, but it doesn't get passed down every generation of the family because my parents never had a problem with speech. And our speech issues hereditary from February 2023, it says studies have shown that as many as 50 to 70% of children with SLI have at least one family member who is affected by the same disorder. This proves that speech disorders can get passed through the family by at least one family member. A way I'm solving this problem is going to a speech paleologist. Going to a speech paleologist helps a lot. I started with not being able to say all kinds of sounds like a TH sound or the R sound, but now I only have problems with saying the R sound. According to one of the most common speech disorders from July 2020, it states, speech pathologists can give children and adults exercises to improve their speech. This shows that getting help from speech pathologists can actually help people and they don't have to fix their speech impairment by themselves. As a community, we can help people with speech impairments by not bullying them as often. Worldwide, we can just be nicer to people with speech impairments. A person shouldn't get bullied just because they say things differently from someone else. In First Words Therapy from May 2023, it states, it is important to build up their strengths by praising their unrelated attributes, such as kindness to their siblings and their athletic skills. We don't always have to focus on a person's speech impairment because that doesn't define who they are. People with speech impairments can also take risks and give in to saying speeches. And How to Be a Confident Speaker with a Speech Disorder by Ben Allen from October 2015, it states, learning how to give great speeches can help with many phases of your life. You'll be more comfortable pitching new ideas at work, giving important presentations, thriving in leadership roles, and interacting in social situations. This proves that if people with speech impairments step out of their comfort zone with talking, they can give important speeches to people. Speech impairments are tough on kids, especially when they're getting bullied because of it. It's not their fault though, that they have because a person can't control how they were born. We can fix people getting bullied by having more speech pathologists and not always focusing on their speech impairments. Next time you judge someone by their speech impairment, just think it's not their fault. They were just born really prematurely like I was, or they probably got it passed down by their grandpa. People with speech impairments have more qualities than that. As it says in the 1946 Murder Mystery by Lester Fuller and Enda Roof, you can never tell a book by its cover.